It's September 23rd, 2018, and we're gathered at Grandwood Parks in Lansing, Michigan for the annual Fenner Family Reunion. It's a beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky, the temperature's in the low 70s, people are coming in. It looks like we're going to have a nice crowd. We got a little fire going to warm the place up, and look forward to seeing everyone. So I'll take some more photos inside in a little bit. Thanks. Watch this later. Bye. Okay, I'm inside now and I'm taking a few pictures around the room. It's not quite time to eat. Folks are gathering. I've put up a lot of bulletins around, and the kids surprised me with a really nice cake. Today, or yesterday, was my 80th birthday, and so I'm happy to celebrate my birthday with my family. Going around the room here and just taking a few pictures of folks getting ready to eat, and we haven't started to sit down yet, so I've just taken some shots. Take a few more pictures here of different folks as they're gathering up, and you can see the things I've got laid out on the table. Family tree, photographs, name tags, and so on. We got a little fire going today because it was kind of cool when we first got here, but it's pretty pleasant now. So if you would all kindly sit down, I'd greatly appreciate it. And Dana, don't go too far away.
I got some, hey Jim, I got some pictures to give away if anybody wants them.
All right. What are you looking for?
I'm looking for my bag.
The range burgers are over here on the table.
Well, I'm looking for Haven Andrews.
Well, talk to Carol Lee. She's in charge of the things. All right. I want to start off, if I can. First, I'd like to welcome everybody who could attend. Please be sure and sign the booklet if you haven't done so. Is there anybody who hasn't signed the booklet? I don't know where it is even right now. Where is the attendance book? Anybody know? Oh, here it is. All right, okay. Please sign for yourself. Our rule is you have to sign for yourself except for very small children. First thing on the agenda. Last November, Thelma Fenner, the widow of Lester Fenner, passed away. Thelma and Lester were the parents of Diane, Sally, Robert, and Peggy, and all of their children and many of their grandchildren attended an amazing and uplifting memorial service at the Methodist Church in St. Louis. Sally's daughter, Jody, gave a wonderful commentary about her grandmother. I wish I had a copy. At Thelma's own very special request, the memorial ended with a singing rendition of one of her favorite songs, Roll Out the Barrel. The minister was a little shy about it, but they played it and they sang it, and everybody had a great time. It was something she specifically wanted to do. It was as Thelma hoped it would be, a celebration of a life well led. I love Thelma. She always had a smile and a kindly twinkle in her eye. She will be missed. I'd like to take a moment of silence in memory of Thelma. Thank you. Thank you very much.
She and Lester spent their honeymoon with my folks in our house.
Very nice. In May of this year, our German cousins held a 3-day-long family meeting in Allendorf, Germany. Carol and I were able to attend along with Dana Coyne. Dana is the granddaughter of Elsie May Fenner. I know she's already been showing you some of her photos and things, but now I'd like to have you hear from her about her trip. Dana has a commitment later today and needs to leave early, so I've asked her to speak briefly before dinner. So please welcome Dana.
Hey, Dana.
Can you hear me stuff like this?
Yep.
Okay, that's more comfortable for me.
So I have some photos here. So before I need to leave, if you're interested in looking at any of the photos, go ahead. There's actually a booklet that they published with a picture from the last reunion.
Would you hold this?
What? It's a, I got it, okay.
Not any, just there.
Oh, okay, so that's fine. So this was a big deal for me to go to this family reunion. And I would have never been there had Jim not been doing everything that he's done for us here at the Fenner family reunion. And seeing his pictures and, telling us about our relatives. And I thought, this would be really cool to do this. So Jim's like, okay, well, we're going to Berlin, so you got to go somewhere, and the reunion, and they had gone other places before. So I said, oh, okay, good, I'll fly into Berlin. We have a cousin named Wieland Giebel, and he has a son named Enno Lenz. So the thing is an interesting little story about him, is that he changed his name to his wife's name for a while. That's why his son has a different name, because he was, well, I don't know, a rabble-rouser, something like that. And he was always wanting to make things right, he's like, anyway, so he and his son had this wonderful museum. It's in a World War II bunker. It's in a bunker. It's so incredible. It took me like 4 hours to go through the museum. There's audio you can listen to, photos. It's just this, if you ever get to Berlin, it is just unbelievable. And then there's also a special exhibit for Hitler. Another, it's like unbelievable, the things I learned that I didn't know. Now, one of the books that Wieland wrote, which my brother David has, I loaned it to him, but there's a photo in there that Jim has brought to this reunion, and it has a picture of a gentleman, Ernst Fenner, our cousin, somehow, our relative, and he's standing there in street clothes. He's an architect, I believe, and the rest of the people, the men in this picture, were Nazis, and he refused to go along with the Nazis. He's standing there in street clothes, and he lost his career because that's where he stood. And the photograph is taken at Schloss Wilhelmsburg, and it also has another name, but anyway, this castle is like a compound with like 4, big sides. Well, Wieland, and just to give you a little, orientation here, Wieland's 68, or at least he was 68 years old when I was there in May. So it gives you kind of a sense of where he was in Berlin and like that. He was born in that castle there, and Ernst Fenner is his mother's father. So anyway, I was in Berlin for a few days. He showed me around. I was at his museum, and then the next part of my trip was through Lutherland. I don't know how many Lutherans are in here, but I'm a Lutheran. I grew up a Lutheran, and so I went down through Lutherland, and I didn't bring that photo book with me, but on to the family reunion. Thursday night, Jim and Carol Lee and I met in Ziegenhain at the Rosengarten, which I'd seen pictures of it and got my reservation there, and we were there for 5 nights. So we get there Thursday night and had dinner, and then Friday morning, you remember Otto and Lisa Lada, who came to the reunion? Well, they met us on Friday morning. And then we went out into the neighborhood. We went to Dillich and Metzenbach, and I don't remember everything. Thank God Jim has that wonderful calendar, or that map with all of the pictures and things, because I actually have photos of some of his pictures in my book to help me remember all the places where we went. So that was cool. Then we ended up, we were at Gaird's, a family home, and coffee and cake. Like that, we did a lot of coffee and cake. It was a pleasure to do that. I don't always eat cake, but I ate a lot of cake when I was there. And then that evening, the reunion started, the gathering. There was beer and food, and then the next day, before that, actually, we went on a tour of Tracia. This is one of the little cities. It's called Schwalmstadt, which has got Ziegenhain, Allendorf, and Tracia. We took a little tour through there, then gathered. Then the next day, we went on this wonderful trip. So you have this committee. They do this every 3 years. So the committee got this wonderful trip together. We went to this national park, and we saw this wonderful bird activity where the birds would fly in. And in fact, Otto's grandson, he volunteered, put the glove on, and the big bird came right in and landed on his arm. It was a wonderful day there. Oh, and then we went to the dam, and this is where the British had, I think it's the British who had bombed this dam. And when we were there, this young lady came up to us, and she was speaking really good English, and we hadn't seen her yet. We didn't see her in the evening before. Ruth Elizabeth Cruz. Well, she had lived in Texas for a while with her husband, and she spoke excellent English, and she was just a delight. So we chatted with her a bit, and then we saw her again the next day at the reunion. So let me see here. So on Sunday morning, we had a little tour at the mill, and there's an artist, a potter there, and then they were doing something about energy in the water. I don't remember all the details. And Wieland met us there. And then we went on to the church service, and they had the psalm written in English. The rest was all in German. And then we went to have this wonderful meal and these desserts. Talk about the desserts. I mean, this was it was like a contest. It looked like a contest. Who can make the most beautiful cake that tastes as beautiful as it looks?
All homemade by German women.
Yeah, it was wonderful. And then, so that we were busy, and then we had to put our feet up once in a while. So then the next day, on Monday, we had another opportunity for another tour. So let me see. I was going to make some notes, and then I said, no, we're just going to wing it. You're going to say what you really remember about it. But on Monday, we actually went to Kassel, and we went to this wonderful exhibit. Gerd Fenner is curator of a show, Landgraf Karl. He was a big dreamer, and it was a very cool exhibit there in Kassel. And we went to the church in Kassel where Johann Gottfried Fenner was the minister. My generation's great-great-great-grandfather, Johann Gottfried. And for those of you who don't know, my puppy, his name is Johann Gottfried. And then I threw George in there, Fenner Coin. Anyway, so it was just a delight. It was so neat to be with our cousins, people that we're related to, and coffee and cake and beer, and it was just a pleasure. Then we got back Monday night, and Tuesday morning we headed to our flights. And is there something I forgot you want to add?
You did it pretty good.
Okay.
You did it very well.
All right.
Covered it.
All right. Very good.
Hard to cover 5 days in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to have you get too bored. I know you're hungry. All right. Well, thank you for listening, and take a look at the photos if you're interested. And I'm thinking, not in 3 years, but maybe in 6 years, I might consider going back.
By the way, in keeping with my tradition and request, in memory of her mother, Malva, who did it before her, Dana brought the wonderful German potato salad that we have today. So, okay, now, let's see here. Oh, I know it's a pain for me to come around with a video camera, but I will do it again. Maybe this will be the last time, I don't know. But please tolerate me when I come. And I wanted to mention, by the way, these videos are all available on YouTube. I have posted links in the reunion minutes and mailed to you, and it's also on the website. Speak your name clearly if you can. Say what branch of the family you're descended from, and if you don't know, try to find out. If you want to add another brief comment about the reunion or the family or the weather, go for it. Finally, I have one request. I made this last year. I don't know if it worked. We tend to sit with our own immediate family, have a good time, eat and leave. I ask you to please introduce yourself to at least one other member of the family that you don't know who may be here today. Ask them what branch they are from. I've asked Ron to say the invocation before dinner, and Ron would like to make a little brief announcement about his brother's wife. So Ron, come on over here.
Okay. My brother Vic, who was here a few years ago, and then moved back to Colorado. His wife has cancer, and she's been in Phoenix at the cancer center, and now they've refused any further treatment. So he has taken her and gone to Naples in Florida, and who knows how long this year will be with us, but I just throw that out for prayers for him and the family, and may God do his will.
All right. We're going to have the invocation now, and then we'll start with Joanne and Arlie and their family, and then let's go around from there.
Okay. May we bow our heads. Our Heavenly Father, we come to Thee on this beautiful Sabbath day. We thank Thee that we have the opportunity to gather together as a family, to remember our relatives. We give thanks for them who set the stage for us for the future. We ask God to bless each one that is present, be with those that aren't with us, that were unable to travel. We ask God to bless this food for its intended use. May the glory of God be with us throughout our life as we ask it in Thy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ron.
You're welcome.
Okay, Joanne, Arlie, I'm sorry to say that at this point, the microphone failed to work, and so I'm going to have to fill in for these next couple of folks. This is Bonnie Cole, of course. Bonnie is the daughter of artists Fenner Upham and Woody, and the granddaughter of Otto Fenner. Ron Schulteis is the son of Stanley Schulteis and the grandson of Emma Fenner Schulteis, and I believe he's telling us that he's happy to be here with us today, and of course he's seated next to his wife Judy, so Judy Schulteis. And following that, I stopped for a minute, figured out that the sound wasn't working, and switched to the microphone that came with the camera. So we'll have sound, but it won't be the best quality.
Martha Andrews married to Eric Andrews, son of Joanne and Arlie.
Bonnie Reedsberger. I'm Joanne Arlie's daughter.
And I'm Joanne Fenner, and daughter of Alfred Fenner.
My name is Arlie Andrews. I'm married to Joanne Andrews. Related to Calvin David Fenner. Gary Reensberger, married to Bunny Reensberger, and son-in-law Larry Joe.
Eric Andrews, son of Arlie and Joe, I'm the baby.
Melissa Yan, daughter of Eric, granddaughter of Arlie and Joe. And this is Evita Yan, my daughter, my baby. So great-granddaughter of Arlie and Joe.
Hi, I'm Dale Johnson, and I'm the daughter of Rex Fenner, Rex and Grace.
Well, hi, I'm Dale Johnson.
This is my husband, Dale.
Want to get married?
Yeah, I do. Anyways, my husband Dale, and I'm the granddaughter of Alfred and Love.
Okay, I'm Dale Johnson. I'm Gail's husband, and I'm here for the lemon meringue pie.
Hello, I'm Dave Neal. I'm Carol's husband.
Carol Neal. You just met my husband David. I'm the daughter of Russell and June Fenner, and the granddaughter of Alfred and Eva Fenner.
Good afternoon, I'm Laura Green-Gillis. I'm the daughter of Naomi Fenner Green and Tom Green, and the granddaughter of Carl Fenner and Marie Niece Fenner.
I'm Brad Jensen, I'm the husband of Ann Jensen. You don't even hear the daughter of Jack. You hear High Street.
I'm Abby Herman, granddaughter of Jack Fenner, and I live in Ann Arbor.
Your dad?
Go ahead.
Oh.
I'm Dave Coyne. and I'm the grandson of Elsie Fenner, Elsie May Fenner Coin.
And I'm Dave's wife, Linda, and this is our daughter, Kelsey.
Hi, I'm Kelsey.
Coin.
Very much. Your grandfather's mother was Elsie May Coin. She said for it. I'm Dana Coin. My dad is Daniel George Coin. His mother was Elsie May Fenner Coin. And over here is my puppy dog, Johann Gottfried George Fenner Coin.
Okay, now I'm ready.
Hi, I'm Jim A. Fenner. I'm Jim L. Fenner's son and grandson of Lyle. Forgot how to talk there for a minute. Glad to be here today.
Hi, I'm Sue Santel Fenner, wife of Jim Fenner and daughter-in-law of Jim Fenner. And I want to wish my father-in-law Jim a happy 80th birthday.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Fenner Sikowitz, and I'm the daughter of Jim and Caroline Fenner, granddaughter of Lyle and Alice.
Hi, and I'm John Sikowitz, and I'm married into the family through Rhonda Fenner Sikowitz.
Hi, I'm Caroline Fenner, happily married to Jim Fenner, and we really enjoy having this reunion every year. We don't know if it's going to last, but we have fun while we did it.
Adam Kaufman. I'm the son of Patsy Fenner Kaufman and Dale Kaufman. They're both here. This is my son Jonas Kaufman, who's 7 months old tomorrow, right? And I'm here with my daughter.
Can I say your name?
Daphne Kaufman is 4 years old.
Thank you, Daphne.
I'm Patsy Fenner Kaufman, and I'm the daughter of Lyle and Alice Fenner, and the mother of Adam Kaufman and Sam Kaufman, who was in Japan today.
I'm Dale Kaufman. I'm married to Patsy Fenner Kaufman. And I'm grandpa to Jonas Kaufman and Daphne Kaufman, and father to Adam and Samuel Kaufman. To you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday dear Dan, happy birthday to you, and many more.
For a second, we'll get this going. I'd like to, before everybody starts leaving, first of all, have another piece of cake. It's really good. Thank you. Thanks to everybody for coming here today and making time to attend the reunion. These are busy days and it's not always easy to make time to attend. Thanks for the food. I hope everybody had enough to eat. Thanks for the pies. I never get a pie at home. Joanne tells me that we have enough money in our kitty. Should we decide to do this again to pay for the place, so we're not, here's a little break, you're not going to have to put in for the collection today. No collection. Before I forget it, Brad Jensen has about a 50-acre garden. Maybe that's a little exaggeration. But he has a very big garden, and he brought some vegetables, and they're out here on the picnic table, and he's encouraging you to take some home with you. Right, Brad?
And tomatoes were my dad's from his garden.
Tomatoes are from Jack's garden, so take some fresh vegetables home, please. Okay. As you all probably know, I'm a computer geek. I read my emails every day at least 5 times, maybe more. And you all have my email address, I hope. I tried very hard to keep an accurate address file along with emails and all those kinds of things. I know we are now 5 generations removed from George Fenner, and I know that many of the family hardly know each other, but the tree, the family tree, helps keep us together. I need your steady help to keep it together. Births, deaths, marriages, divorces, changes in career or education, please send them to me. I will update the tree. I also, of course, have a website called AmericanFenner.com. You have to have a username and a password to access it. I've sent you the username and the password many times, but if you don't have it, I'll send it again or ask you for it. If you ask me, I'll get it to you. Please check the website from time to time. I posted a brand new version of the family tree on Friday evening on the website, along with brand new copies of all the family addresses. There was one major addition. Dana Coyne wrote a memorial or a remembrance of Elsie Fenner, and I've added that in. There are some families for which I do not have much information, and I'd like to have it for the website for the family tree. The family tree now has reached about 80 pages. I have one copy up here on the front, but I'm not, that's for me to have to make changes if necessary. Anyway, it's pretty easy to access that website. Once you know the username and password, you can download the family tree from there and or the address files for everybody. But just in case, I brought a few DVDs today with family trees and addresses on it. I think I made 6 copies. I also made 6 copies of last year's reunion video. I didn't send them out by mail as I have some years in the past. It wasn't a particularly good version. I couldn't get it off my camera. I had to pay a company to do it, and they didn't do a good job. So, but it is on the website. There's a link to it from the website if you want to see it. Okay, so I repeat again that the last several reunion videos are on YouTube, and the addresses are listed on the website. And also, some years ago, I had these decals made of the Fenner crest, and I sent them out to many, but I have them up here if you want another one for Lost Yours or Care, or want to give it to a family member, please take them. I got a bunch to give away. All right. Today we had 37 signed in persons. Last year it was around 35 also. The question comes up, do we want to continue to do this reunion now that it's gotten so far into the future? It's interesting, there are only 3 living men in Michigan from the George Fenner family with the name Fenner. Myself, my son, and my Uncle Jack. And there are no other men named Fenner. It's all now generations down, married in. They're all part of the family, that's for sure. And I try to make sure that everybody understands that they're all part of the family. But families do grow apart, people move away, places are distance. There's more members of the Fenner family now in California than there are in Michigan. But so the issue comes up, do we want to keep doing this reunion or do we not? And if we do we want to do it in this same format, at the same time? I want to make it pretty clear. You all know I turned 80 yesterday, and I'm very anxious to pass this on to another person. I'd like to make sure that you understand this is the last time I will be leading the reunion. The last time. I said that last year, but somehow it didn't work. I'd like to make sure that it does work this year. So,
Jim, you're only a kid.
I understand there are some folks here who are my senior. I believe Arlie is the senior person here today, 91? Huh? Yeah, 91. What's that?
He's only 90.
90 or 91? 91 in December, okay, well, closer to 91. And his lovely bride, Joanne, now turning 102? 102? No, what is it for you?
I'll be 86.
86. And then Jack, what do we got, Jack? You are? 89. You will be in November. So Arlie is the oldest here today. She'll be 90. So that's pretty darn good. That's pretty darn good. So Arlie's the oldest, Jack is second oldest, and I believe Joanne is third. And like she said, that makes me a youngster. But I feel my age, and this has been a big job. I've been doing it now for 25 years since my dad passed away in 1994. And if this is gonna go on, I need somebody else to step up. Now, I got an email from somebody, they said, well, what does it take to run the reunion? And I said, simple. You pick a day, you send out a postcard, and you show up. That's what they did when my dad ran it. He sent out a postcard, and everybody showed up, and there was a reunion. Now, over the years, I've added a bunch of stuff to it, but it's not necessary. You can have a much more simple reunion if you choose. You don't have to do all this stuff. I am willing to help whoever takes over with the address files, which are kind of complicated. You might not know this, but I send out 98 letters to family members 2 or 3 times a year related to this reunion. And of course, most of them are in other places, and I know they're not coming, but that way I get their addresses. If they've moved or changed or moved or whatever, I get a letter back or note from the postcard saying, so-and-so now has a different address. And so I've managed to keep the things together that way. So I'm going to open it up to the floor here a little bit. What's your desire? Somebody else want to step up and take over? You want to postpone it for a year and do it on a 2-year basis? You want to change the time of the year? You want to do something different? Speak up. I'm listening.
Nobody's going to speak up.
The silence is deafening. Well,
We got a suggestion over here. We could just go to a restaurant. That's what they do in Germany, isn't it?
they rent a room at a restaurant, and they order from the menu for their most meals. Then the last day, they have the business meeting like we're having now, and that's when the women bring the cakes and pies.
Which is an event.
But they have a 3 or 4 person committee that works on it for 3 years to put it together, including their field trips. I don't hear anything. If you wish, I'll send out a letter with a survey with the notes of this meeting, saying whether you want to have it again or not, and ask if anybody wants to step up. If I don't get any positive responses, this will be the final reunion. Is that acceptable? Yes, please.
All right, I'm a married in, but anyway. I'm the one that emailed him and asked Melissa if she's interested and we could work as a team. But my suggestions go a lot further than that, or questions actually. If you're interested in a reunion, is there one person in each family group that would be willing to be the contact for that group so that there is more of a committee? One person heads it, we send info out. And how many of you grew up with, once the food was over or before it started, you're out there playing games? If you want your kids and your grandkids here, how about some cornhole? Go out behind here and play the horseshoes, plan the meal a little later. and do something before it all happens. This is a great park for activity instead of just a few people in a room. And need kickball, but we have a great place here. Now, we also need to develop today's world. A Facebook page that connects to an Instagram that has links to Jim's stuff, Dana's stuff, other family issues, that can post monthly for history, just to keep alive the fact you belong to a family and who you are. Something that your kids could read through, whatever, but it puts it out there and says, hey, we're still part of this group. So there's a lot to be developed if you're going to continue with a family reunion, because, I mean, my family reunions where I grew up were 300 people and lasted a weekend. And that was if not everybody showed up. But I don't know if the old homestead's still available within the group, maybe not. But we always went there, we visited cemeteries, and we had a great big time at a whole hotel where everybody went to when we got too big to be in one location. So that's my past with reunions. Rick says that they used to go out and play ball with who? Uncle Mickey? And growing up, they had memories of family reunions. And they'd like that for their grandkids and kids too. So what do you want to do with it? Go bigger and get a bigger crowd and include the rest of the world and get into the internet and all of the stuff that's where they're going to be? Or have another lunch or two and go from there. I don't care. I'm just throwing out stuff. And one of the things we might want to do is get a survey that asks people what they would enjoy seeing and be involved in. If somebody wants to be in charge of their shoes or has the cornhole game, then we'll bring it. But involvement gets people. Knowing you belong gets people, and you know you belong by actually being involved in helping to do something. So kind of leaving that on the table and giving it back to Jim.
Thank you for your comments and your questions and your interest. I don't know if we can work something from it, but it's wonderful to maybe try. So, what shall we do?
You know, there are a lot of centers out there that we never, that we don't know about. Maybe you know about them in the practice, but I'm guessing there's a lot of centers out there. My dad's dad, we have the Johnson family. We just had the 90th reunion in Mount Pleasant. And so that was not this year, but the last year. So they put the word out, people get the mail, and they say, okay, on the 90th, we're going to take photos. So we took photos of, I think there were 8 children that we all, and so they got group photos. One, there was like 2 people in it, and those were 2 people who came from Canada. They came because it was the 90th. So it was like we made a big deal about it, on the 10s, like that. So, and in Germany they do it every 3 years. And that's just, it's just thought that that's international. But just to make it be something, we do have some photos.
Dana, every Fenner that descended from George gets an invitation to this reunion. There are a lot of other Fenners in Michigan, but there are no connection to us that we're aware of.
Okay.
Every Fenner from George gets an invitation, and their families.
And how many people is that?
3. I sent out about 95 letters. 95 letters altogether.
95 letters.
But of those, there are only 3 male Fenners left in Michigan.
Oh, right here you got another male Fenner.
Yeah. So you and him would like to take over their reunion.
Well, throw that letter out, and let people think about it, mull it over, because I think that it's, for me, because I got to go to Germany, it was just really special that I feel so connected to more than just people in the state of Michigan, connected to people from Germany, and there was an Australian there too, so.
I did make a couple of notes about dates. If we were to go ahead, I said next year Labor Day is on the second Saturday would be the 14th. The second Sunday the 15th, the 3rd would be the 22nd, and the 4th would be the 28th of September, if we were to do this. MSU plays at home on the 14th, and is away on the 21st. Indiana is at home on the 28th. U of M has a bye on the 14th. Wisconsin is on the 21st. And Iowa is at Wisconsin on the 21st, and is Iowa on the 28th, for those of you who are football persons. And then there's the issue of Saturday or Sunday. We've gone back and forth, Saturday or Sunday. We tried Saturday for a while because some folks said they wanted to travel long distances home on Sunday, but they don't come anymore, so we moved it to Sunday again. So those are all things I can write up in the minutes and ask for replies, but if somebody doesn't send back something positive about taking charge, we won't schedule another one. Yes?
Hey, Jim, I just want to agree with the idea of having a representative from each branch of the family reach out to the members of that family, and I would be happy to do it for the Carl branch.
Okay, that's a
It goes
start.
that way.
That's a start. Joanne's part of the Alfred Fenner family. And Dana's the Elsie. Dana is the Elsie family. Ron's part of the Emma family. And somebody's here from the Duck family. That would be Bonnie. For those of you who don't know, that would be Otto. He was always known as Duck. Who did I miss? What other members of the original family were there that I missed? Ruth. Yeah. Well, that's a start. I'll share all this with you, and we'll work together and see if we can put something together.
A lot of the young people have a lot of other things.
Well, that's the deal. Nowadays, there's so much going on. People are here and there, scattered and living far away. You know, people here came today, drove 2-3 hours to get here. And it gets, you know, it's not like when everybody lived 12 miles from St. Louis, and they could all get together for a picnic and they were getting their buggies and go home. That was a little different. Yeah.
Just a quick note, we have a grandson that's a freshman at Michigan State, and he's in fish and wildlife, and part of his class is at the Fenner Reunion.
That's great. We love that. We love that. By the way, speaking of the Arboretum, if you haven't been there, you should go there. And it'd be a good thing if you join and send them some money. They're trying to build, they're adding on, they're going to make a better facility, and it is possible in their new facility that they might be able to have us. The old one wouldn't accommodate us, but the new one might sometime in the future. But if you're not associated, or if you've never looked at their website or got on their mailing list or sent them a check, you ought to do it. It's worth keeping going. Any more comments? Well, there's still some cake left, so hang around and chat for a minute. And like I said, if you're at a table with only your family, make it a point to walk across the room one way or the other and talk to somebody you don't know from a different family. I'd really like that. And by the way, I wanted to call your attention to the picture of George Fenner. I posted his portrait when he was in the military. He was in the military for a couple of years in a town called Meiningen. And when he went home to his dad said, "I have no money. You're going to have to go to the United States after your brother." Well, while he was in the military in Meiningen, he, like his fellow young men, were going to an adjacent town called Waldorf. And in Waldorf, he met a young woman, I believe, at a dance. And I never knew about this story, I just learned it a little while ago. It turns out Waldorf is a very exclusive place in Germany. It's a very, very high-end place, and it was kind of an upscale deal. His wife came from a very big family. One of his relatives started a hotel in New York called the Waldorf Astoria. You might have heard of it. And one of them was a cook and created a salad called the Waldorf salad. You might have heard of that. Anyway, after he was here a year or so, he sent for Elise, and she came across the sea, and she worked as a housekeeper in Boston, I think it was, or might not have been Boston, but somewhere over on the East Coast. She worked as a housekeeper for a while, and she kept badgering him to send for her to come home. Please build a house so I can come up to St. Louis. And he was clearing land, and he cleared the land, and finally he built this small log cabin and brought her up there, and they started their life together. But I thought it was interesting that she came from this city called Waldorf, from which the hotel is named, and it's still there. The city is still there, and it's still a very upscale place. And I believe, although I don't have positive proof, that they met at a dance where the German soldiers would go on Saturday night to this little ritzy town where they would have these dances, and met the local girl who he later married. So that's my story for today. Okay, and that's his picture in his uniform. So that's it for now. Let's talk a little, and then we'll see what happens. Thank you.